What's up, folks? I'm Chris, your MLB writer here at Occupy Fantasy. Here with a look at the 10-game main slates for Wednesday, June 8th for MLB DFS on FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo. As always, we'll start by looking at our favorite pitchers for the slate. And as you see on the screen here, our favorite pitcher in the Occupy model this morning is Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies in his matchup with the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. Flip over to the Occupy Fantasy pitcher model, and you see he has a 20.2 OF index. He is far and away our number one preferred option in the model this evening. Big reason why that we like Nola. The Brewers have the 8th highest strikeout rate against right-handed pitchers, which Nola is, in Major League Baseball thus far this season, so that's really good for him. Nola himself averaging 1.27 strikeouts per inning pitched over the last year or so of his work, so that already puts him in a pretty advantageous spot, and our model bumps that up a little further to 1.34 strikeouts per inning in this particular matchup. The Brewers, even though they were hot about a month ago, in the last 30 days, they actually are a slightly below average fantasy offense as well, and that's a big reason why we like Nola in addition to everything else. Nola's batted ball data is a little concerning. He's in probably like the top 25% across Major League Baseball for pitchers in terms of batted ball contact for hitters, which means that hitters are having a relative degree of success against him. But some of the advanced numbers, the fringe metrics on Nola actually look pretty good. He's got a 4.7 ERA since June 2021, but his expected, ERA, whether you prefer FIP or Sierra, comes in much lower than that. So that means he's sort of underperforming the quality of his pitching performances over the last year or so of his outings. And our model tends to see all of that and think that we should be playing Aaron Nola in all formats tonight. Slight favorite against Milwaukee, but think he's probably pretty strong for both low and high risk contests. Anything over 17 is elite in our model. Anything over 20 is extremely elite, so we really like Aaron Nola tonight. Obviously, we have a couple of other arms straddling that 17 threshold. Chris Bassett with the New York Mets against the Padres. We prefer him to Eovaldi and Manaea just slightly right now, first thing in the morning here on Wednesday. Biggest reason on DraftKings would be salary. Obviously, $8,200 is certainly a nice discount from the other two guys here. He's a slight underdog against San Diego. Projects for 1.11 strikeout per inning. And his StatCast data is a little bit better than Nola's, but not by a whole lot. Now, Eovaldi, the scary thing with him is this batted ball exit velocity. It is the worst allowed to hitters of the last couple of weeks in Major League Baseball on this particular slate of starting pitchers. The Angels strike out at the second highest rate in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching, so that's why Eovaldi gets a little bit of a bump here. He's also one of the bigger favorites near the top of our model tonight, so I think Eovaldi is probably an interesting option in a high risk tonight. The high opposing team total for the Angels probably means we don't necessarily want to look his way in low-risk contests. We do like Manaea on the other side of that matchup with Bassett against the Mets. Manaea's a lefty. He's actually the favored side of that game today. Projects for less strikeouts per inning than Bassett. That's why he comes in a little lower. But he actually has much more favorable batted ball data over the last couple of weeks of play than Bassett does. Shane Bieber against the Texas Rangers for the Guardians tonight. Another interesting option. He's one of the bigger favorites near the top of the model. Projects for 1.22 strikeouts per inning. So I actually think there's a little more upside here with him than some of these other options near the top. And he also has pretty favorable StatCast data recently compared to Manaea. Nestor Cortez with the Yankees facing the Twins. The most expensive pitcher on this slate. He's averaging 6 innings per outing, which is one of the stronger length projections on the entire slate. Second biggest favorite on this slate right now, projects for 1.16 strikeouts per inning. Really good at limiting batted ball exit velocity recently. Batted ball distance is reasonably okay. So all these kind of names here at the top of the model above 16 are in play tonight. I think if you use something like the lineup builder available through Occupy Fantasy or any other optimizer across the industry, these are the 6 guys you probably want to start with in terms of your player pool for pitcher, and then move on to figuring out what else you want to do tonight. That's certainly what I think most of us are going to be doing. I'm going to focus on getting Nola in as many of my lineups as possible at the top range here. Now for stacks, first thing that we like to do is look at who do we rank near the bottom of our model this evening. And right now it looks like our least favorite pitcher is Antonio Senzatella with the Colorado Rockies against the Giants. So I would expect Giant stacks to be something that we may try to do tonight. Senzatella has no strikeout upside. This is one of the lower strikeouts per inning projections we've seen in a while. Big underdog against the San Francisco Giants tonight. Senzatella allowing an elite weighted on base average to hitters from both sides of the plate in recent outings as well. Packing Naughton with the St. Louis Cardinals against the Tampa Bay Rays. Chris Archer against the Yankees. Dane Dunning against the Guardians. Reed Detmers against the Red Sox. We get him tonight. We thought we were getting him last night. These are all guys I expect our model to want to target in their matchups upon a first glance here of who's ranked at the bottom. So let's see what the Stacks dashboard thinks. And our number one option in the model today is the Boston Red Sox. That's the team I think I'm going to be trying to get into my lineup tonight. The Red Sox are number 1 by OF index, number 2 by projected isolated slugging against Detmers, number 3 by implied team total on the day, but actually number 2 on this slate. So I think the Red Sox will be reasonably popular, but they're in a good spot. We talked about it a little bit in our video yesterday, so go back and check that out. Against Detmers, left-handed pitcher. Expect Trevor Story to be the anchor of stacks that we want you to use in Red Sox lineups tonight. He crushes left-handed pitching. Our lineup builder does have a feature that allows you to set an anchor, which means a player that will be featured in every stack. We do think Trevor Story should be that guy tonight against the Angels. The Dodgers, they are also one of the better options this evening, facing Johnny Cueto of the White Sox. Highest projected isolated slugging on this slate, second by OF index, reasonably high weighted on base average projection. Reasonable team total, may come in a little lower popularity-wise than Boston or Atlanta, who's another team that we like tonight here, fourth by OF index. The Chicago Cubs are interesting tonight against Jordan Lyles of the Baltimore Orioles, but there's some rain in Baltimore, so that may be a problem this evening there. That's something to keep an eye on. The Braves with the highest projected weighted on base average and the highest implied team total tonight are going to be interesting. But there's something here that creates uncertainty on both sides of the matchup. Jumping over to our pitcher model, he's not ranked super highly, but Jared Koenig, I hope I'm saying that right, is pitching tonight for the Oakland Athletics. He's making his Major League debut for Oakland. Now, we don't know much about him, haven't seen him against Major League pitching. We're projecting him for over a strikeout per inning. That's not necessarily what some of the databases that like Fangraphs has, for example, are saying. They think he averages closer to about 0.7 to 0.8 strikeouts per inning. If we look at his recent form, this is an article by Melissa Lockhart over at theathletic.com. Koenig is an interesting prospect for Oakland, and he's actually pitching extremely well. You see it here, I have it highlighted for you. Over his last 5 starts, he's allowed 5 runs in 32 2/3 innings, 39 strikeouts in that time period. That's good for about 1.2 strikeouts per inning. Obviously, this is just AAA competition, but there's some potential here that Koenig is a little bit better than some of the publicly available models projected him to be against Major League competition this season. So that's where the uncertainty comes in. The Braves themselves hit left-handed pitching fairly well, looking at some of the guys that are expected to be in the anticipated lineup for Atlanta tonight. Obviously, Acuna, maybe follow up last night's performance with some more. Highest weighted on base average against lefties. Matt Olson, even though he is a lefty himself, hits lefties very well. Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Travis d'Arnaud, those guys all start, are going to be interesting options against the rookie for Oakland in his debut. I think it's an interesting spot. It's probably one to target in low risk. In high risk, our model is a little lower on it than these 3 options above, which is why I think maybe you go somewhere else. Using our lineup builder at OccupyFantasy.com, I did get about an even distribution of these top 3 or 4 stacks here. The Cubs are one that I may want to keep an eye on and go back to later because of the weather in Baltimore tonight. But Boston, Los Angeles, Atlanta, these are teams that I'm interested in this evening. Tampa Bay, a little lower here with the second highest weighted on base average projection on this slate. Also maybe something to consider in high-risk contests. Let's go over to DraftKings. See, I have Aaron Nola as my favorite pitcher, as I had at the beginning of the video. I am right now thinking I'm going to try to approach this slate with a Boston Red Sox stack. Keep an eye on the Xander Bogaerts status. He left last night's game with a shoulder injury, so he may not start tonight. I think we'll still be on Boston this evening, but we may not have Bogaerts available for us. Over on FanDuel, same idea. Nola, 4 high upside. Boston Red Sox bats, $2,500 per player remaining. I think that's enough to get something done tonight if this is how you choose to play the slate here on Wednesday, June 8th. Our final rankings for the slate will be up on OccupyFantasy.com by about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where we'll have our top stacks, top pitchers based off of confirmed lineups and everything that comes in. So you certainly won't want to miss that. If you want to talk about MLB DFS up until then, we are talking about it every single day in our Discord. There's a link to join our Discord below the description of every single video that we publish here on this channel. We'd certainly love to see you in there. Good luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow for more MLB DFS.